Hey guys, what's up? This is David Lantis, the infamous David that John always talks about. Figured we'd change it up here and Chalk and Beer, give you guys a little look at what I do. I'm a third-year PhD student at the University of Oklahoma, and I enjoy powerlifting. Started a powerlifting team here last year with my good friend Raul, and we've had a lot of success. We lift in the NASA Federation, and yeah, it's been really great, and I love to share my knowledge with everyone and try and make everyone better. I also teach nutrition here, so yeah, I love this stuff. I have a passion for it. Anyways, let's get down to business. Here you can see me working with 315 with sumo. My sumo was feeling pretty good when I always warm up sumo because I feel like it helps warm up my hips. I have old man hips quite a bit of the time, and it was moving really good. So today was a power deadlift day. When I say power, I mean I just wanted the bar to move fast. It didn't really matter how much weight was on it. So I started with 315, moved really well as far as sumo was concerned because I'm a terrible sumo lifter. And so I figured I'd bump it up, did 2 sets of 315, here's a set of 365, and I think I did 2 of those as well. But anyways, really on these power days that I have, it's all about being as explosive as possible. Now I will have days where I'll lower the weight, and I will also work on form, but today was not a form day, today was a power day. So I was trying to get as much power off the ground as I could. And you can see here, I do a pretty good job. Like I said, I'm not used to sumo. I think the last time I really deadlifted sumo was in May. So it's been a long time, but it just felt good, and I figured I'd give it a shot. You can see I deadlift with wrestling shoes as a way to kind of decrease the length of the lift. Yeah, it was moving really well as far as sumo goes for me. So when we talk about the difference between sumo and conventional, there's a couple of things that are going on. You know, really, when it comes down to it, to make it simple, it's going to be slower off the bottom, and it's going to, in terms of sumo, it's going to be slower off the bottom, and it's going to be a little bit easier on the lockout. And then compare that to conventional, it's going to be a little bit faster off the bottom, and the lockout's going to be a little bit slower. That's a general rule of thumb. Now, that makes people think, well, if I have a slow lockout, maybe I should do sumo because it will make my lockout better. Well, a lot of times you have that slow lockout because you just are moving so fast at the bottom of the lift. So that's not necessarily the reason to do sumo. Here I am doing 405, trying to give that a try. Actually able to wear a belt. I've had a bruised rib, so this week is the first week I've been able to wear a belt, and it was not too bad. Anyways, really with sumo and conventional, you know, if we look at it a little bit further, conventional is going to use a lot more leg drive. If you think about if you're ever going to go for a high jump, if you get ready to jump, look at where your feet are. They're generally going to be closer together because that's where you can generate the most amount of force, is having your feet closer together. Also think about what are you stronger in? The position of a you know, half squat, you're usually in a very strong position, and in a conventional pull you are going to be in that half squat position. So you get a lot of leg drive when you do a conventional pull. In a sumo pull, you still get leg drive, but it's just not going to be as much leg drive. But because you start with your back at a better position, more upright, that's going to make the lift a little bit easier, in particularly after the bar has come off the ground, because you don't have to use as much of your lower back. When you are doing a conventional pull, you have to use a lot of your lower back. Here you can see we have a really terrible platform, and the bar was just going all over the place, so I had to reset for my last 2. But these 405s were moving pretty good, once again, for not doing sumo since May. So I think on this next set I decided, hey, why not test the waters? Let's do 455. So you got to think about all these different things when you're trying to decide whether you want to do sumo or conventional. Sumo is also going to bring your hips closer to the bar, decreasing that moment arm, because that's one of the moment arms we like to worry about. And that's an advantage of sumo for a lot of lifters. But you know, some people are going to be stronger sumo, some are going to be stronger conventional. It's just the way it goes. You can see there, moved really good off the ground for a sumo pull for me. And so here I try 475. My max sumo was 495 back when I weighed about 210. I'm about 186 in this video. So I get this lift, and I was actually pretty happy with how well it moved. The biggest problem I have with sumo is I have a difficult time knowing where to put my hands, because when I lift the bar up towards the lockout, my arms hit my thighs, and it kind of throws me off. And actually in this lift, I almost lost my grip. But as far as sumo goes, this was a really good lifting session. You can see I get a little bit of rounding, and that's something I have a lot of difficulty with. I have a lot of mobility issues in my hips and in my hamstrings, and I'm working on it. So you'll notice I have a lot more rounding than a lot of people will. Here's 315 conventional, but a lot of my rounding is going to be in the thoracic region of my back, so the upper part of my back, and that's actually a technique that I use to get closer to the bar. You know, I have very long legs but not long arms, so I have to reach down a far ways to actually get the bar. So what I do is I almost have a roll. My shoulders are almost rolled forward when I deadlift. This is conventional I'm speaking of, to allow for me to have a decreased range of motion that I have to get down into. Here's 315 beltless, moving pretty good considering I just did 6 or 7 sumo sets. One thing that I do with my lifts is, especially with my deadlift conventional, here's 365, is I do this kind of rock back to kind of force all the weight on my heels, try to get myself into a better position. A part of me thinks it may not be good, but then the other part of me thinks that it's something I've always done and I should probably just stick with it. So you can see when I get down into position, my back actually gets fairly neutral, just a little rounding in that upper thoracic shoulder area, which isn't a big deal. I'm not too worried about that in terms of safety. With the deadlift, what I like to do is I have a heavy day each week and I have a power lighter day. So this is, like, again, my power day. Some days I'll use the power day as, like I said, trying to get as much power as possible, so the weights don't matter. You can see today I'll work up to 475, but the weight moves fairly well. Other days I'll use that power light day as a light day and work on my form a little bit more, work on my positioning in the lift. I do the same thing with my squats, and a little bit with my bench, but bench I don't really need to work on form. I just need to figure out how to get stronger with my bench. My max deadlift in competition, I did a 562 in the 198 class. I actually weighed probably closer to 210. Here's 405, moving pretty easily without a belt. Moving really fast off the ground. You can see that lockout's a little tough for me, but moved really good. Here's another 405. So I did 562 at the 198 class, but I really weighed probably near 210. I just dieted down for it. Recently in August, I hit 534 in the 181 class, weighing about 185. Maybe could have even done a little bit more that day, but had some difficulties with my bruised rib. Still, like I said, 405 beltless. This is moving pretty good. I have a big goal of getting to 575 with my deadlift by next June. That would be adding 40 to 50 pounds, which I think is possible. I just need to work on some things, and I'm getting there. What else do you guys want to know about me? Jung and I used to do some crazy, stupid lifts together. There's 455. Kind of looks like a grinder. But it takes me a while to get used to my belt, so I put my belt on for that lift. And actually, I think the 475 moved a little bit better. Jung and I used to do a lot of stupid stuff together. I remember one day we were bored, and I'm sure some of you have read the article of make your arms bigger in one day. It's like a 6-hour arm workout. Well, Jung and I were bored one day, so we decided to do that. Looking back, just the most foolish thing I've probably done. You can see there, moved real well off the floor. Kind of slow on the lockout, but considering my belt was not in a good position and I kept it a lot looser due to that bruised rib, I like the way it moved. So here I do some pedally rows. I also call them OU rows. I think that doing something like this as opposed to just regular barbell rows is going to carry over into my deadlift a little bit more. Since I'm going down, I'm just tapping the floor and bringing it up. I like these a lot more than just a standard barbell row. So I do, I think, 4 sets of this, 8 to 10 reps. Moving very explosive, so like since it's my power day, I like to pick real explosive accessory movements. Then after this, I think I did 4 sets of pull-ups with 30-pound weight. And since I did so much deadlifts, I called it quits after that, so I didn't do a whole lot of accessory work on this day. These are still moving pretty good. Yeah, I hope to kind of film some of these workouts for you guys from time to time. Show you what I'm doing down here in Oklahoma. But yeah, I have an OU powerlifting team. If you guys ever want to check it out, we do have a highlight video that maybe hopefully we can put in the description box here. We have a Facebook website. Come check us out. We're doing some really cool things and really enjoying not only lifting heavy weights with each other, but we create a really good group of guys that are educated in lifting and in nutrition and just wanting to help people become healthier. So that's about it, guys. I'm trying to think what Jung usually says signing off. It's not how much beer you can drink, it's how fast you can drink it. So we'll see you guys later.